Hello friends, welcome to SQL Server tutorial. Now we are at the final part of the subseries SQL triggers. In this video we will explore instead of trigger with an example. Instead of trigger fires, instead of a DML statement. So that means when you are, for example, inserting a record with a insert statement, instead of the insert statement, the trigger body for insert will be executed. So that's why we call this as a instead of trigger. Instead of update means trigger body is executed instead of the actual update statement. The same goes for delete. In the trigger beside, the body is executed instead of the DML delete statement. Here, if you see, our trigger name is top marks, no delete. Previously, we wrote the trigger with the after trigger concept. Now we are using instead of delete. So instead of trigger, we can call this. So create trigger name or student table name instead of delete. So instead of firing the delete statement, execute the body of this trigger. So let's see what is inside this body. Here we are again running the delete statement, delete from student, where id in select id from, if you see here, we are firing the we are executing the virtual table, or we are picking the data from the virtual table, and we are picking id, select id from deleted, where %mark less than 75, right? So we know that the virtual table will hold columns that needs to be deleted. Let's state that this is some student ID and name, and this is percentage of mark. For example, let's state that the percentage of mark here is 65, and this is the deleted virtual table, right? We are attempting to delete this specific row. So inside the body, delete from student, where ID, so we are making a select statement. Here we are making select from deleted, select ID from deleted, where percentage mark is less than 75. Here if you look at the column value, it is less than 75, so this qualifies. So ID will be selected, and inside the where condition, delete from student ID, where ID in, if for example ID is 101, here in the in statement you will be having 101, so that row will get deleted. For example, if this is 85, and if you are running this query, select ID from deleted virtual table, where %mark less than 75, it's not less than 75, so the where condition will fail here, and in the in class we doesn't have any ID, so delete will be skipped. So that way here instead of trigger, if you say, we are allowing the delete of a student whose percentage mark is less than 75. So if they hold more than 75 mark or even 75, the deletion will be skipped. Here we are not doing the rollback, but we are just skipping the delete. Now let's see this with an example. So here we are just talking about, but we have only one delete statement. Will it work for delete TSQL, which affects multiple rows? That we can check in the demo. That means we can run the batch, and from deleted, here we are talking about a single delete, right? There will be deleted virtual table. If you delete multiple rows, then there will be multiple entry, and if there is only one which is more than 80, that will be skipped, and the remaining ID will present in the in class. So that will work. Alright, now let us check the instead of a trigger in the demo. So here, if you see, we are creating the instead of trigger. Trigger name is top marks no delete, as already told. The trigger body, whatever is highlighted here, that will run instead of the actual delete statement. So before running this trigger, we already have one table level trigger, right? Right, we will create the database level trigger. We will delete the database level trigger as well. I'm just doing the cleanup. And we created the trigger for student table. Student table is not here, so it's in pubs database maybe. So here in the pubs database we have the student table. We will go to triggers, and if you see top grade no delete, so that's the table level trigger we created previously. We will delete this trigger and replace that with the instead of trigger. We will execute it. So here, if you see top marks no delete, that's instead of trigger. So the trigger will get fired when we run the delete statement. So here, instead of okay, we will drop and recreate the student. Because in our previous test we deleted some rows, so that's why here we are dropping it. We'll recreate it. We'll insert sample data. Once you delete the table, the trigger also will get deleted. So here we are recreating the trigger. Now if I run the delete statement, you can select statement, you can see there are 5 rows. Here we are making call to delete from student where id equal to 101. This will get deleted. Select star from student, you can see that that specific row is deleted. And here we are attempting to delete 103. The percentage mark is more than 94. So our instead of trigger will fire instead of this delete statement, DML statement, and here we are executing it. Here it will not show any error because we are not rolling back the transaction, but we skipped the delete, and if we make select, we can still see the row 103, right? Because here in the body, trigger body, we have a in class, right? In the in class, the select will fail, so 103 will be skipped here. So that's how instead of trigger works. Now we will drop it and recreate the table again, recreate the trigger again. So here we will execute delete from student. So here when we make a call to delete from student, it will pick all 5 rows for deletion, but our instead of trigger will run and in the instead of trigger, if you see the deleted virtual table, select id from virtual table will give all these 5, but we have where condition where percentage mark less than 75, so it will give id of 100, 101 and 104. 102 and 103 will be skipped here in the select id, so the in class will have only 100 101 as well as 104. So only those rows will be deleted. And if you see here, we are selecting from deleted. The moment you make a call to delete from student, all will qualify, but instead of this delete, it goes to the instead of trigger, and instead of trigger body, when it tries to execute, it makes use of deleted virtual table. Deleted virtual table will have all this, and in that we qualify only 3 rows, right? So only these will get deleted. Let's see that in action. Delete from student. And if I say select star from student, you can still see the student with the marks more than 75%, 75 or 75 more, right? So this is because of our instead of trigger. Here we wrote instead of trigger only for the delete action. You can write instead of insert, instead of update. And when you are using instead of insert, you can use the virtual table inserted. And when you use instead of update, and if you want to see both old as well as new value, you can use inserted as well as deleted virtual tables. That's all. We are ending this sub-series. Thank you for watching. Bye.